Is marriage slavery? Marriage is slavery. Is marriage slavery? Welcome back to my channel. It's JusMeLah, and in today's video, I am reacting to Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 13. We start out with Eric and Virginia. So Virginia's sister came to visit her, and she brought her 2 children with her. And the question that stood out for me was, can I trust him with my kids? And Virginia did not look too confident in the response that she gave her sister. I was saying no. Virginia looked like she wanted to say no. That was huge. Can I trust him with my kids? Virginia doesn't even trust him with her dog. So she knows darn well that she wouldn't trust Eric with her own kids, okay? That's your answer, Virginia. You need to leave him. Bree and Vincent. So at this moment, Bree and Vincent are doing their finances, their budgeting. So they're figuring out what money is coming in and how much they are spending, and they're trying to trim down their expenses so that they can save up for the future. Vincent is really focused on house and children, and Bree is focused on looking cute, having a good time, going out on dates with my boo. Now, the part that struck me as a little contradictory, and not in a heavy negative way, but Vincent wanted to cut the entertainment budget to however many dollars, and Bree was like, but how are we gonna go out with that kind of budget for entertainment? That means dates. We could only go on one date. One date is gonna cost us $200. I was like, Vincent, last episode, you ran a list of places you wanted Bree to take you, but now here you are saying you want that entertainment budget to be $200 a month. Whatever amount he gave, it just did not seem like it would accommodate the list of things he wanted to do in the previous episode. And you either want to go places and do things, or you want to stay home and save your money. Either is fine. Either is fine. In this episode, the couples met with Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. Virginia is now meeting with Pastor Cal, and overall, I felt like Virginia was not being extremely forthcoming with everything that she's been dealing with. And I kind of feel like this in all of the relationships, that the couples tend to tiptoe around the major issues, or they gloss over them, or just downplay them. And I feel like it's a disservice, because the experts are there to help you through these things. And so giving it to them raw is to your benefit. At any rate, I felt like she was being really polite, and I wanted her to just divulge more about how Eric behaves. I wanted her to be very specific with the things that he does. She did mention the ultimatums, and that doesn't make her feel safe. So she did express that to Pastor Cal. So now Eric, who's her spouse, is meeting with Dr. Pepper. And the one thing Dr. Pepper had to check Eric about was Virginia's dog is her dog. Dr. Pepper let him know that he needs to fall back, and it seemed like he was receptive to that, which I thought was good. I thought it was funny when Eric went on to say that Virginia is too independent for him. I'm like, I mean, do you want her just hanging on you, hanging on every word? Do you want her to be super clingy? I think that's what he needs for validation, to feel good about himself. He needs to feel wanted. But I was not expecting Dr. Pepper to be so decisive, or to really pick a side around Virginia's drinking, okay? Dr. Pepper said, do you think more than a few glasses of wine is okay for your wife? Her stance was very clear. She was clearly stating that Virginia has a problem, or that she does not have her drinking under control, that it is excessive, and it's something that Eric needs to be vocal about and help his wife understand that this is not something that's appropriate, or this is something that is excessive. This is not something that is beneficial. This is actually harmful to you and our relationship ultimately. She said to ask questions like, why can't we stop drinking for a while and see how that increases our communication? And I also felt like Eric was mad happy that Dr. Pepper agreed with him. And I think it's a valid point. I'm not being judgy. I'm not coming for people. I think you should enjoy what you enjoy. But I'll just speak about me. For me personally, I didn't grow up drinking. I first had alcohol when I was in college, and I still wasn't a drinker. And it was only until after I graduated from college, when I was working in a theater, and I was doing bartending and concessions for the theater. We were mixing drinks all the time. We would sneak drinks on the job. But after work, all of us got along so well. There was like this camaraderie that we would go to the bars around the theater after work, basically every time we got off of work. And so I was drinking basically, I think that was a part-time job. I don't think it was full-time, but I was drinking several nights a week. And it was then in my early 20s that I was like, oh, I see how people become alcoholics, because it just becomes a part of your routine. You just do it all the time. It's just like, oh, you're socializing, you have a drink. And it was then in my early 20s that I realized, oh, this is something you have to check. Not because I felt like I was becoming an alcoholic, but I was like, girl, you drinking every night, basically, because you're socializing. And Virginia is in her, I think she's in her mid-20s, but some people don't have that kind of reflection. They don't think about things like that. They just go, go, go. And so the point is, I took a look at myself and what I was doing, and I by no means had a habit or had a drinking problem. It was just me thinking, like, I'm doing this all the time. I could see how this becomes excessive. Now we're on to Clara and Ryan is meeting with Dr. Pepper. I was like, Ryan, what is happening? The way he represents his relationship as perfect. And then the other thing for me is, like, the experts know what's happening. Like, at this point in the game, don't they realize that the experts receive updates about what's been happening with the couples? But also, Ryan is not really privy to all of the interviews that Clara is doing where she looks miserable or where she's venting to the women. And so I could see how Ryan feels like, oh, everything's good, because maybe Virginia isn't communicating with him that she's sexually frustrated. Yes, it seems that she has brought up the question of intimacy and when that will happen and what he needs, but she also praises the rate at which they're moving. She says, this is what I asked for, this is what I wanted, so now I'm getting it, so you know. And he feels affirmed in hearing that, like, yeah, see, I'm doing the right thing. This is what's best for her. So now that I'm speaking it out loud, I can see why he would respond that there are no challenges in my relationship, because he's, you know, a little oblivious because Clara isn't being completely honest with him. And then I said that Ryan is asexual, period. Okay? He's asexual. I don't know, but I just feel like that could explain certain things. Moving on to Clara with Pastor Cal. I could not believe that when Pastor Cal asked Clara about the relationship and its challenges, that Clara had nothing to say. Mum was the word. I was like, do Clara and Ryan have a pact not to discuss certain things on camera? It seems that they do, because the only time, well, not really the only time, but that's just the impression I got, that they had a conversation and made a decision as a couple to not speak about certain things on camera or just with the experts to save face. I said Clara looks mad sad in the eyes. Like, sis looks like she is suffering, like her needs are not being met. And I could imagine that one might feel used in a situation like that, where you are giving so much to someone else, but you are not receiving anything. And you know that what you're doing is fulfilling that other person, but they are not reciprocating. That's just, and maybe not even used, because it seems like she is willingly doing it. It doesn't seem like Ryan is asking for her to do these things. So I guess I would just be frustrated. I would be upset, because I think she enjoys what she's doing. Otherwise, why would she be doing it? Unless she just feels like part of her value is in her body. And if she isn't being physical with someone, then she's not valuable to them, and she feels like they might dispose of her. She did allude to that or mention things like that a few episodes before. So maybe that's why she's doing it. But either way, she looks sad, okay? She said he's dated women for months, years, where sex was not happening. And I don't really think that's odd. I mean, people are celibate or abstain or are virgins before they get married. So they're obviously in committed relationships with people, and they aren't consummating the relationship, or they're not, you know, being physically intimate. So to me, that isn't necessarily weird. It's just, I'm not really sure because they're married already. So it's not even like I'm waiting for marriage. You're married. So what are you waiting for? That's the part that's weird. It's like, it would be different if he was a virgin and he was waiting for marriage. No, wait, that still doesn't make sense. Because even if he was a virgin waiting for marriage, he's now married. But he's also not a virgin, so you didn't wait for marriage, and you are married, and you're still not doing it. And so I just think he's asexual. And I feel like there is more that he needs, and he is saying that there's more that he needs. We just don't know exactly what those things are. He did mention trust, and that trust is really big for him. And so I feel like Ryan is asexual. To me, he's a mystery, and I feel like that is, I've cracked the case. He's asexual. That's just all there is to it, okay? Virginia and Eric. So Eric decided to speak to her about her drinking, like Dr. Pepper encouraged him to do. And I said, oh, she is defensive about that alcohol. Like, sis, you do drink a lot. Relax. And she says she thinks their arguments would have happened with or without the alcohol. And she might be right. Like, their beliefs, their habits, their way of viewing things, they are going to bump heads regardless. But I'm sure the presence of alcohol, you know, release your inhibitions, feel the rain on, you know, you just don't have that filter anymore. So you say things and do things that you otherwise may not have done, that you might regulate and check. And so I'm sure that absolutely can heighten the argument or make things worse or make you, you know, cross boundaries that you don't otherwise mean to cross. But, you know. Okay, so then they speak about the whole kids thing. And Clara brings up the fact that he's always giving ultimatums. He doesn't agree that they're ultimatums, but whatever. That's just like semantics. I couldn't believe that he said she needs to realize that he's not going anywhere. I just thought it was like, wait, what? You said she needs to realize you're not going anywhere, but you were always telling her that she can go somewhere or that you will be going somewhere else if she doesn't do the things that you want to do or agree to engage in the way that you want things to go. So for him to be so bold and be like, you need to realize, it's like, no, you need to realize that your words are powerful. You say these things out of your mouth. That has an impact on her. When you say something, she believes you. When you tell her you could leave, when you tell her she could go, when you can tell her I'm out of here, she believes you when you say that. And so she gets afraid. She cuts it. Like, come on now. Like, your words are powerful. You have to be careful about the words that you use. And I feel like that is something that I'm always reminding myself. Your words are spells, spelling. You are casting a spell. You are speaking these things into your life. You are making things happen with the words that you use. Like, come on. I think we have to be more conscious about the power of our words and what we say, how we talk to ourselves, how we speak to others, what we put out into the universe, and how those things will manifest, okay? Eric's biggest fear is that Virginia will leave him. And he's always telling Virginia that she could leave him or that he's going to be gone. So his biggest fear is she's going to leave him. But he always talks about how she could go ahead and leave him. And eventually she is going to leave him. So he's making it happen. He's manifesting these things in his life. This experience is his because this is what he's bringing to the table. So Eric, my brother, choose your words more wisely, okay? Don't act out of fear, act out of love, okay? So then they get into the conversation about him wanting to spend more time with her, okay? So this gets into the whole question about, is marriage slavery, okay? Like, does your partner own you? When you get married, do you become the property of your spouse? Does all of their wants, desires, and needs come before anything else in your life? Are they obviously they're a priority, but are they the top priority? And I ask these questions. Obviously, I have my own thoughts about it, but Eric is telling Virginia that if he wants to hang out with her and she's already made plans with her friends, that he expects her to cancel those plans with her friends so that he can hang out with her, because she's married now and he's her husband and she's his wife. And so that is what is expected. And I disagree. No, that's not what's expected. And he's been singing this tune since the beginning of the season. Virginia is, how about you plan in advance so that we have our dates set, and then you won't have to ask me to cancel the dates that I have with my friends. Her thing is, I plan a week in advance. If you haven't made plans with me and I've made plans with someone else, it just is what it is. And I completely agree. Like, just because we live together, just because we're married, doesn't mean that I am just available to you 24/7. I still have my own life. I have friends, I have family, I have work, I have me time, I have my hobbies, and I have you. And I have to make time for all of those things. And you don't get to, you just don't trump all of these other areas of my life. And don't think that just because we live together or I'm your wife, that my time is now all yours. You still have to schedule time to spend quality time with me. Okay? I need to emphasize that. You still have to schedule time to spend quality time with me. Period. Eric, figure it out. He says he can't always schedule things because things just come up. Okay, that's fine that things come up, but don't make things coming up be your default, right? Like, don't not plan because sometimes things come up. No, still plan. And then if things come up, that's understandable and you all will make adjustments. But she shouldn't have to constantly adjust to your schedule just because your schedule can be unpredictable sometimes. You're a pilot. You have a flight schedule. I don't know. This is just what I'm thinking. And even if you have on-call days, that's fine. Communicate that. You all can plan around that. Okay. So Clara and Ryan, they discuss how she feels about him withholding sex. And I felt like she was watering down her frustrations. I said that earlier. She says, I respect you, and that makes him feel validated in the position that he's taken. He can't really cater to her fully because she isn't standing up for herself completely and making it known, like, this is something that I need. I feel frustrated. I need you to tell me more about what your plan is. Where are you? Give me a goal post, like something. I need to see this finish line, right? I need to understand that we are getting there, not this just, we're just floating in space, and when it happens, it happens. And when she asked him if he feels like sex is happening anytime soon, he said, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be weird for me if somebody kept asking me for sex, like, but I think I also would, well, if you're married to the person, but you still just met them. I'm trying to think, like, you know, what would I do if I was in that situation, if I was Ryan? And I'm thinking, if I'm married to someone, even if it's someone I just met, and I'm saying I like them, we get along, we're sharing a bed together, and I'm saying I don't want to have sex with them, I feel like I would just say that, like, I don't want to have sex with you because I just am not ready. And I would say I'm not ready because I feel like it's too soon. I feel like I want to get to know you more. I don't have a strong enough emotional connection with you. And so for me, it's not going to, like, mean anything. I want to make sure that you're into me for, I mean, I guess he is saying some of these things, but it still does seem a little odd because he boasts about how great the relationship is. So it's like, if it's so great, why would the sex not also be great? All right, anyway. So then we get to Paige and Chris. So Paige meets with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper called Chris a narcissist. And I was like, is she officially diagnosing him, or is she just casually using this term? I couldn't figure it out, but she just let Paige know, I don't think Chris thinks about anybody but himself. And I just felt like Paige still had questions about why Chris behaved the way he did. And I just feel like you're trying to understand somebody who is unreasonable. Like, if she's saying he's a narcissist, I believe that's a disorder, right? It's a disorder. So like something is off. Things, it's like it's not normal. So you trying to understand it. It's like, sis, it's not for you to understand. It's for him to get help for, or I don't think a narcissist can be cured, but I think I've heard that maybe they can manage, they can like be honest with themselves and check themselves. Paige, you don't have questions. You don't have anything to ask him about why he did this. If Dr. Pepper told you he's a narcissist. He doesn't think about anyone but himself. Like, you're not going to get an answer that makes sense. And if you do, it's because he made it up and it's not true. It's not, you know, he's not going to be honest with you. Also, I like that Dr. Pepper kept it real with Paige. Like, you need to have boundaries for yourself, okay? I felt like she was holding Paige accountable. Like, you just let this man do whatever he wanted to do to you. And you need to correct people when they cross the boundaries. You need to let them know that this is not okay. This is unacceptable. Correct it in the moment so that they understand, and a healthy, normal human being will fix it. But somebody like Chris will continue to violate like he did. Also, yes, Dr. Pepper said there may be some questions that we can answer that might be clarification, but it doesn't change the facts. Like, so regardless of the questions you have and the responses he'll give you, it doesn't change the facts about how he operated. So there still is nothing to talk about, you know? I'm like, sis, he's crazy. That's why he did it. There's no other reason. And I don't really want to call him crazy. I feel like that's dismissive. And I do feel bad about calling Eric crazy so many times in the last video. I just felt like it wasn't really kind. He just isn't balanced, okay? And so he's an unbalanced person. And so the things he does doesn't necessarily, they don't really make sense. Like, just move on, just let it go. And I feel bad for her because, you know, it sucks, but she'll be okay. She's an intelligent woman. Okay, so then Pastor Cal and Chris sat down to speak. I just thought it was funny. I don't know, I was just laugh out loud. He's not into her physical features. He wasn't attracted to her face. It was just, and not because I actually think it's funny, it's just more about like the disbelief, like, yo, he's really saying this. And it's just like, if he wasn't into her, he wasn't into her. I think I said this early on, or maybe I said this on my Twitter before I started officially doing reactions, but if he wasn't attracted to her, he wasn't attracted to her. Yes, he could have tried to still get to know her, to just trust the process and see what may have developed, because you never know. You never know. And that's his bad that he didn't do that, because that's the purpose of this. That's why you have this 8 weeks, so that you can get to know the person and figure out if something else can grow from this union. But he wasn't attracted to her face. He wasn't into her. And I knew from the moment that I saw Chris, from the first episode, I knew he was not going to be into Paige. I've been said that. Like, she is not his type. He's into the, like, super prissy, super materialistic, like, you know, IG model baddie. And that's just not Paige's persona, okay? She's not a baddie. She's a pretty woman. She has a nice body. She has a nice personality. She is intelligent. She has a lot going for herself, but she's more like down to earth, it seems, and not as superficial and materialistic. Or she might be superficial and materialistic. I don't think she is, but she doesn't execute the way that Chris wants his woman to execute. So you could just tell that it just was not going to be a match. All right. When Chris said it really shouldn't be that hard to find somebody because he's not that picky, he said there's so many beautiful Black queens, white queens, Hispanic queens. It really shouldn't be that hard. I said, oh my gosh, look at Chris coming for the experts. Like, y'all didn't do your job. This is your fault. He's mad at them. Like, I asked for a simple thing. All I asked for was a beautiful girl, and you couldn't get me that. I also feel like it's very offensive. I just hope that Paige has people that are really uplifting her in this moment and just telling her how beautiful she is, because that's a lot. And it's on national television. And you have this man over and over again saying that you are not beautiful, that you are not attractive, that your face was a problem. That is just a very negative. I just hope she has people around her that are really supporting her, and I hope she doesn't watch that. I hope somebody lets her know, like, sis, don't watch tonight's episode. He said all of the millions of women, and y'all picked the one that was like, wow, he is a bold boy. Like, you would think he was Tyson Beckford, like he was Idris Elba, that he was just, you know, walking these streets looking like, I don't know, some perfect statue, but you know, whatever. He didn't like him. Okay. And this brings me back, yes, to my video that I did, Can Attraction Grow? And I mean, Chris is just letting you know, like, yeah, she was cool sometimes, like I said, okay? She was just not his type. So it didn't matter how cool of a person she was, he was never going to be physically attracted to her. So yes, he could have gotten to know her more. He may have even developed emotions, feelings for her, if he allowed himself to. They would have kicked it like they were homeboys and homegirls, but he was never going to get there, because can attraction grow? And no. Pastor Cal was saying some valid things to Chris, that he was just saying that you are impulsive, and it's supported by the fact that you've been engaged 3 times, and that you get engaged to these women after knowing them for a short period of time. You just do what you want to do in the moment without fully thinking through all of the things that you are doing. And Pastor Cal is just saying, like, bruh, I get it. You and Paige are not going to work out. But what's going to happen with Chris moving forward? Like, what decisions will you continue to make that will land you in these same situations? He's trying to get Chris to grow, but Chris is like, I'm over it. Like, why are we still talking? Chris was basically like, I don't understand why we still talking about this. Like, I don't like her. Like, we could end this right here. But that's his loss, because Pastor Cal is right. Like, you wanted to buy her a car, so you bought her a car. Now you say you want to buy her a house. And I get it, because it's like you want your child to be well taken care of. And so if this is the mother of your child, and she's the woman who's going to be taking care of your child, then you're going to make sure that she has things so that your child can live comfortably. I totally get that. Absolutely, I do. And that wouldn't be the wrong approach in another situation, but you still were married and you did not consider your wife. It was just all about you and your child and the child's mother, and she was an afterthought. And that is where the misstep was. Like, even if you still did buy her a car, or you still did purchase her a home, you should have first had a conversation with your wife, and you all should have been on the same page about that. Okay. Then we have Vincent and Brianna. So Vincent meets with Pastor Cal, and I was like, what does Vincent mean when he says his attention span goes like that? I just didn't know what that meant. What did that mean, Vincent? That worried me a little bit. Like, so you're gonna lose interest in her? Like, is your eye gonna start to wander? Also, I didn't understand what he meant when he said Brianna is narrow-minded about household and business things. But I guess she's just kind of stuck in her ways. Maybe that's what he means, that like she's not open to hearing other people's perspectives or doing things in a different way. And yes, we can see that totally. And I also loved that Pastor Cal told Vincent that pleasing your wife does not mean doing everything that she says to do. And I said, this is giving me Karen and Miles vibes, except for Karen, it was a turnoff that Miles was just doing, you know, trying to please her so much. She was just like, bro, what do you need? And at the end of the day, I feel like that was such a concern for Karen, because it's like, if you aren't being honest with me about what you need, if you are suppressing your needs to satisfy mine, then you could be going unfulfilled and I have no idea. And that manifests in a way that, you know, just ruins our relationship, all because you did not have the courage to stand up to me and stand in your truth and let me know what it is that you needed. Like, I don't want to walk all over you. Yes, please me, but don't please me at the expense of yourself. And I feel like it's similar with Brianna and Vincent, except that Brianna doesn't find it unattractive that Vincent's catering to her. She finds it to be sweet because it fits, you know, she likes to be in control, he likes to please, so it goes together. With Karen, I think she was in a situation like that already, where she had more of the control. He was pleasing, but not really getting his needs met. So he stepped outside of the relationship to get those needs met. And then it just broke her heart. And so she learned moving forward that, oh, I can't have a man that's just willing to please me at all costs and not articulate what his needs are. So then we get into Brianna, and she's speaking to Dr. Pepper, and she talks about her health condition, that she has high blood pressure, and that no matter how healthy she eats, no matter how much exercise she does, she just consistently has high blood pressure, and that while she does want to have children, she is afraid about how that will impact her body. And I felt like, wow, that is a lot. And I just wondered if she was fully expressing that to Vincent so that he can understand. And I just feel like if you don't know about that, then you don't know, right? I think we just see pregnancy as something that naturally happens, and it does naturally occur. And we feel like women, you have babies, like you're built to do this. So and if you don't understand like all of the complications and risk and just the different kinds of experiences that different women can have with childbirth, you just feel like it's ABC 1, 2, 3. Like, yes, we put it in, you get pregnant, you have the baby, and boom. And I think he thinks her fear of being pregnant is just like a normal fear, like, oh, I've never done it before, I don't know how it will be. But for her, it's like way deeper than that. Like, bruh, it could really negatively impact her well-being. Oh, then we get to Jacob and Haley. So Jacob really wanted to know why Haley pulled back in Vegas, and I was like, it was the sex. I'm like, if Haley, when she saw him, was neutral about his looks, okay, if she was just a little perplexed about his personality, and Haley was drinking and decided to sleep with him, it's because she just wanted to see what it was like. Because it's not like she was attracted to him, so it wasn't like, oh my God, I really want to do this, but you know, I've been drinking, so all of my inhibitions are gone and I just can't help myself. It was probably like, let me see what this thing do. Like, let me just see, like, could this make something better? And I know that's sounding like Chris, because that's what Chris said as well, but I just feel like men and women are different. And I feel like Chris knew from the moment he laid eyes on Paige that there was nothing that woman could do that would make him become more attracted to her. But at any rate, I just think it wasn't a good experience for her, and he probably did something weird. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, Bri and Vincent. Okay, so Brianna is supposed to compromise with Vincent about his sleep. Okay, she's an early riser and she goes to bed before him. He goes to bed after her and wakes up after her, but she's constantly wanting him to get up with her. I feel like, Bri, you need to get your own life. You're giving me Eric vibes right now. Like, let him do him. If he doesn't want to wake up when you wake up, like, I get it. Maybe find something else to do in the morning so you aren't just consumed with the fact that you're up and you want to spend time with your man and he's not up. I get it, you know, like, okay, he want to stay asleep, so you get up and you go to the gym, or you get up and you go get your hair done, or you get up and you take a walk, or you get your nails done, or you go grocery shopping. You do something else so that when he is ready to wake up, y'all can go do something else. You weren't just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. And the fact that she couldn't compromise was just really scary for me. It was like, this is alarming. Like, they asked for a compromise and you couldn't just say, I'll let you sleep in for an extra hour. But the fact that he even has to like have a set time to get up, to me, is also an issue. Like, if y'all don't have something planned to do and he doesn't have to be to work, why does he need to be up at a certain hour just because you're up at that hour? I feel like that's doing too much. Like, it's just not cool, and he does not like that. That's not attractive. And it's just really weird to me because she seems like such a she just seems more balanced, like, you know, that you wouldn't expect for her to be so unreasonable, or you wouldn't think that she would be so unwilling to compromise. Okay. I thought Jacob asked a good question to Haley when he asked her if she felt like she was still allowing her past relationship to control her. It kind of relates back to Eric in terms of allowing your fear to like dictate how you navigate. So Haley shared that in a previous relationship she was controlled by this man, and she made a vow to herself that she would never be controlled like that again by a man in a relationship. And so she just, you know, chucks the deuces, is gone if things start to seem like they're reminding her of that or whatever. And Jacob was just like, do you feel like he's still controlling you, or that relationship is still controlling you? Because it's, you know, dictating how you move and operate in love. And that was that. That was the end of my notes for Married at First Sight, season 12, episode 13. Thank you so much for watching. It's JusMeLah. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video.